5:25 p.m. in another 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, please continue to share with us a little bit about yourselves, your names, where you are, and what brings you to our webinar today. Use the chat window to do so. In the meanwhile, let me take you through the features of Zoom. Also, guys, you can join us. Bala, if you can go back. Also, guys, this is for all of you who would like to ask your colleagues to join us as well. There is a limit to the number of individuals who can join us on Zoom today. If your colleagues or if your acquaintances would like to join us on the Zoom call and they're unable to, they can also join us on Facebook Live by going to www.facebook.com/FirkiPortal. That would be another great way to do that. For those of you who ask about video recordings, a video recording of this webinar will be available shortly. It will be circulated via email as well as be available on the Firki platform. Ashwath has been kind enough to put the URL in the chat box, so you can copy it from there and paste it into your browser. Let's talk a little bit about Zoom. The reason we're sharing these features with you is so that you can make the best use of the platform we have available today. On the bottom left corner, you can see a mute button. That is your mic. Please click on the mic button to unmute yourself and share your views if the speakers, our experts today, are asking you to. If not, your default mode should be on mute so that we prevent any echoes from happening across and also to save some bandwidth. Right beside the mute button is the video button. You can click on the video button to switch off the video and to avoid bandwidth issues. We request you once again by default to keep your videos on off. On the right-hand corner on the bottom, you can see the chat button. You can use the chat button to open up a little box on the right. That box is where you can type in your responses to anything the speakers ask or any questions you might have. Throughout this webinar, I will be collating all the questions that come up in the chat box, and I'll place them to our speakers as and when they pause to take questions. On the right-hand side at the bottom, you'll also see manage participants, or not the right-hand side, on your left-hand side at the bottom. Once you click on that, you'll be able to see a few options. You can raise hand, you can say yes, no, you can say go slower or go faster. By clicking on those, you will give the hosts of this call an opportunity to see that you have a question to ask, or you'd like us to go slower or faster. We will get in touch with you as and when we see a raised hand or we see any communication from you. Additionally, you can share your questions and suggestions in the comment box if you're on Facebook Live as well. Your responses will be curated and shared with the speakers in the Zoom session. So even if you can't reach us within the Zoom session and you're connecting with us via Facebook Live, feel free to use the chat box or the comment box to leave your questions and thoughts, and I will definitely be sure to place them to our speakers. Yeah, these are some tips on how you can make the most of the learning experience through the webinar. Take some time to go over them. In the meanwhile, would love to keep hearing from you guys who are just joining us in the chat box. Your names, where you're coming from, and what brings you to our webinar today. Ashwath, in the meanwhile, can you also really quickly share the Facebook Live link in the chat box? That would be really helpful. Welcome, Swapna. Yes, thank you, Ashwath. Welcome to a number of you who've just joined in. I'm sorry, I may have missed a few of your names. Lakshmi Priya, I can see Surya Teja, etc. Welcome, guys. I hope this is a great learning experience for you. We'll get started shortly in the next 5 minutes or so. The working of the world has changed in the past 2 months, and so has the way we learn. In these unprecedented times when everything has come to a halt, Pirki has been continuously moving with the purpose of keeping your teaching and learning processes going through a specially designed initiative called Learning During Lockdown. This initiative contains a plethora of virtual sessions and resources across a wide range of topics categorized broadly under three buckets: work from home, getting ready for school, and health and wellness. So please keep looking for communication about each of these webinars in your inboxes in the coming days. Pirki also recently launched its Teachers of India campaign. Teachers of India is an initiative to recognize the contributions of the teaching community towards building a nation of capable learners and leaders. If you are a teacher, we want to celebrate you. Please send in your story on the link that is visible on your screens. I will also shortly share it in the chat window. You can see it in the chat window now. Oh, we've got another individual from abroad. We've got Gulshanara from Pakistan. Welcome. We hope you have a great learning experience. Hi.
फिरकी ज्वाइन करने से मुझे अपने अंदर काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंस भी आया और बच्चों के अंदर क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट कर सकती हूँ इसका भी मुझे फ़ायदा मिला है।
हमेशा कुछ नया सीखने की कोशिश में रहती हूँ ताकि बच्चों को भी कुछ कराते वक्त जहाँ कहीं भी परेशानी आए उसके लिए कोई सलूशन हो। तो फिरकी मेरे ख्याल से हमें एक वो सलूशन देने के लिए है और फिरकी अपने नाम से ही जाहिर है कि फिरकी मतलब वो चीज़ जो चारों तरफ घूमती हो, यानी कि एक चौतरफा जिसका असर हो और शायद वो चतुर्मुखी विकास में बच्चों के लिए मदद करे। तो मुझे अच्छा लगा इस कार्यक्रम में आके।
फिरकी ज्वाइन करके मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, बच्चों के बारे में कुछ सीखने को, अपनी गलतियां सुधारने को, उसको देखने के बाद अब बच्चों की गलतियां सुधारने का मौका मिला, जिससे हमें बच्चों में पता लगा सके हम कि क्या क्या चेंज करके बच्चों में क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं, क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट हम अपने आप में कर सकते हैं जिससे बच्चों में पढ़ने का इंटरेस्ट आए।
कुछ नई चीज़ें सुनने के लिए नए ढंग से मिली हैं और मैं चाहूँगी कि इन नई चीज़ों को नए तरीके से कुछ अपनी सोच के साथ मैं बच्चों पर ही इस्तेमाल कर सकूं ताकि वो बच्चों के लिए भी उपयोगी हो और मेरे भी अनुभव में वृद्धि करें, आगे बढ़ने में मदद करें, क्योंकि हमारा जो काम है वो ऐसा है जिसमें हम हमेशा सीखते रहते हैं और सिखाते रहते हैं। तो शायद फिरकी इसके लिए एक बहुत ही अच्छा माध्यम है। मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ। थैंक यू फिरकी।
I hope that video was informative. Welcome one and all, especially to those of you who may have joined in the middle of the video and might have very little context of what happened there. Welcome to you and welcome to Firki's webinar today. Today is our webinar on discovering innovative 21st century tools for the Indian teacher. It is designed in partnership with Teacher Class. We're going to get started with the webinar in just one moment. But in the meanwhile, one last time, I'm going to request all of you who joined us today, all 186 of you right now, to please take a moment to share with us in the chat window your name, where you currently are reaching out to us from, as well as what brings you to our webinar today. Why have you taken time out of your lives to take this opportunity to come and learn with us? In the meanwhile, we request everyone to please place yourselves on mute and to place your videos off. This is to make sure that we are saving bandwidth throughout this call and to prevent any cross echoes. Yeah. Very, very diverse set of individuals on our call today from all over the country and outside as well. With that, we're going to get started. I hope you're ready. Hello, everyone, and welcome to FIRCI's webinar on discovering innovative 21st century tools for the Indian teacher. It's designed in partnership with TeacherClass. My name is Rahul Gomes. I am a course designer on the FIRCI team, and I will help you navigate through the webinar today. We will now start by quickly watching a short video that will help us introduce ourselves to the FIRCI website and its features.
The FIRCI website offers a diverse set of content for teachers to support them in their professional development as well as in their classrooms, and is free of charge and easy to use. In order to access the portal, type firci.co and you will be directed to the FIRCI website. To register on FIRCI, fill in a brief registration form. You can also sign in through your Google account. You will have to use your email ID in order to create an account on our website. This account is again free to create and use. Once you create your account and log in with your credentials, you will be directed to the dashboard. The dashboard would have notifications related to your profile, course progress, time spent, and your FIRCI discussion groups. To access different pedagogical courses, you can click on the courses link on the top left of the screen. The courses page allows you to choose courses based on difficulty level and category. The courses are also available in different regional languages. Feel free to browse the different courses we have in our catalog using the search bar above. Each FIRCI course is designed using the FITS model that stands for Feel, Imagine, Do, and Share. The Feel section of the course helps you identify your current practices. The Imagine section defines the practices that one should follow to improve teaching and learning outcomes. A detailed description of strategies are highlighted under the Do section that one can implement in the classroom and with their students. At last, the Share section talks about ways in which one can share their learnings with each other. Each course has also a set of reflection questions as part of the assessment section. Along with the course material, each FIRCI course also contains a learning circle plan and journal pages. A learning circle plan helps the coaches and mentors conducting the offline learning circles to discuss and share learnings from the course. A journal page summarizes the course with important points. We are adding new courses every month, so keep watching this space. Next up, we have the webinars page that is also accessible from the top left of the screen. On this page, you will find information about the upcoming webinars. If you scroll down, you will find a bunch of resources from our older webinars. These resources will include video recordings of the webinar itself, notes from the webinar, the presentation used by our speaker, and other resources on the topic covered. Do feel free to browse this section at your leisure. The final page to look out for is the resources page, also to be found at the top left corner of your screen. This page houses and will house resources from several of our partner organizations, such as the British Council, Khan Academy, Storyweaver, Pratham Books, and more. We are in the process of adding to the list, and you can easily filter resources by partners, grades or standard, and the subject of instruction. We hope you find value in using these resources in practice as teachers and educators. Finally, you can find the FIRCI app on the Play Store and can access these courses, resources, and webinars through your phone. So download our app and stay connected to teaching and learning on the go.
Thank you so much. I hope that video helped you in getting to know FIRCI a little bit more. If you have any additional questions on anything that was highlighted in the video or about FIRCI in general, please feel free to contact us at contactfirci@teachforindia.org. Ashwath will put that email ID in the chat box as well. With that, let's move on to the webinar at hand today. Thank you all for taking the time to join us in this discussion. In designing this and other webinars throughout the year, The FICCI team is hoping that we can disseminate meaningful knowledge and skill that takes us closer to our goal of improving the quality of education in Indian classrooms. With the aim to get ready for school, this webinar will offer an introduction to some of the most innovative classroom teaching solutions available. It will cover 9 curated tools, including video libraries, science, math, and STEM experiment kits, an innovative mobile app to take attendance and assessments. It will introduce value education-based teacher professional development program. And now I'll introduce the speakers for today to you. Sonia D'Souza is the Executive Director at Teacher Class and works at the intersection of finance and social impact and has over 9 years of experience. Tanvi Goyal works as the Program Manager at Teacher Class. She has been a former Teach for India Fellow and is passionate about education. Welcome to the both of you. That brings us to our norms for the webinar today. Given the large audience that we are expecting today, please keep your video and mic off to reduce stress on the bandwidth. Unmute it only when our speaker is taking questions and comments. You can keep typing your questions in the chat box during the entire duration of the webinar. Sonia and Kanvi will try and address as many of them as possible throughout the webinar. I will be there to curate your questions and comments throughout the webinar, and I'll post them to our speakers a little later when they open up for questions. Do remember that learning new things is often difficult, but challenge yourself and reflect on your thinking and experiences today. The best way to remember something is to write or discuss your learning with someone after the webinar. This webinar will be recorded and will be made available on YouTube and the FICCI website soon. This brings me to the end of my elaborate introduction. Thank you for your patience. I hope you have an interesting evening. I'm going to throw it over to our speakers now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Rahul, for the introduction, and to FICCI as well as for introducing both Kanvi and I. I hope I am audible. Yeah, great. So just to caveat the session, I want to first just let you know that my internet speed is a little low, so I might be inaudible in the middle, so please bear with me. Kanvi and I will both try to address all of the questions that you have and that you share with us. We may not have certain answers to questions, but we promise to get you those answers as soon as we can.
Sonia? 1 second, may I just interrupt you for 1 minute? We've touched 300 participants on our Zoom call, which means that we will not be able to accommodate any more individuals on the call itself. So all participants, once again, a reminder, if you would like to have your colleagues or other individuals, join us, they can join us via Facebook Live. The link is in the chat box. Apologies, Sonia, please continue.
No worries. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. What we're going to do or cover through this webinar is one of the work that we do at Teacher Class, and second, we're going to cover the program that we run at Teacher Class, that is the Tax Scholars program, followed by the answers many of you have written with in your form, right? Like, how does a teacher in the current context move to virtual teaching? And what we've done is we've curated a very, very short list of tools that we recommend you can get started with, and a few helpful tips and advice. We access more of these resources on our website or at a later stage, or we've provided links in the PPT so you can access it later. Okay, all right, I'm just going to try to share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Great. So what we do at Teacher Class is our vision is to empower teachers, lead themselves and their classrooms in the 21st century. I'm sure, especially in this context, there are multiple different apps that you all are hearing about, or different tools that you are hearing about. One teacher comes and says, have you heard about this new innovation that I'm using? You read newspaper articles about various educational products and resources. But it's becoming increasingly difficult, especially for the Indian educator, to make a decision regarding what tool works for their context, given that India is such a diverse country, right? With certain parts of the country having access to internet, but there are certain parts of the country that don't have access to internet, with certain areas where instruction is done both in Hindi and English, and most populations are comfortable with that, to rural India where most of the education is done in regional languages. So what Teacher Class does is help educators, especially the Indian educators, simplify the process of choosing which tool works for them, and provides all teachers with a way in which they can really, at one website itself, understand the different options available to them and know the features of their tools, right? So what we intend to do is build a platform to help Indian teachers access the best tools. And how we do this is through a process of experimentation, where we're running a program on the ground, and we kind of research and curate a list of tools, both free and paid, for teachers. We also measure a lot on what works and why with teachers. And through our experience, we've realized that especially in the Indian education ecosystem, the teacher generally doesn't have voice or choice in the kind of tool they want to implement in their classroom. No one's listening to their challenges, and what we have committed to doing is listen to your problems and find tools that actually address your immediate and most urgent problems. And lastly, as we advocate and inform. So we work with multiple different partners, and through those partnerships, we kind of advocate how to design better for teachers, to design better for the classroom, and really try to solve the immediate challenges of the classroom and the teacher when it comes to tech or innovations being implemented. So at Teacher Class, we have two kinds of things that we do. One is we run the TAC Scholars program. And the second piece is we're curating an online tool repository. Now, this online tool repository is something we've done as a measure to help teachers during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is a list of free tools made available by multiple different organizations in the ecosystem. How we've curated it is to make it relevant to the Indian teachers. And we have the TAC Scholars program, which is a program that we run on the ground in the classroom, where we have physical tools. And these are mainly paid solutions. So these solutions cost money. And we offer a few teachers every year a chance to participate for free and test these products and grow with these products. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the TAC Scholars program and the process. So who is eligible? We have motivated teachers who teach in low-income or under-resourced schools and classrooms in India. We currently cater to sites in Mumbai, Pune, and Hyderabad. What we do through this program is we offer these teachers, once they apply to Teacher Class, with a menu of tools that we have curated. These teachers then discover, learn the different kinds of tools, receive counseling on how to choose which tools actually meet their context. And then they start with a year-long program where they get weekly calls. So we call teachers on a weekly basis to kind of help teachers understand how to get familiar with their products. And then we do a monthly observation where we're trying to help teachers build a reflective practice. So it's not only, okay, am I using this tool, but can I learn what to do next independently while I'm using this tool, right? So without any further delay, I'm gonna hand the PPT to Kanvi, who's going to deep dive into the TAC Scholars program and the tools that we offer through this program.
Sure. Thank you, Sonia. So let me just start sharing my screen. Just give me a second.
Kanvi, I'm happy to change the slides, so we can go ahead.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot, Sonia. So hi, everyone. So let's just deep dive into the TAC Scholars program. So we have been working with teachers since 2012, and we have been running this program for the past 3 years. So based on our experience working with the teachers, what we have realized is that out of all the challenges that teachers face, The major two challenges are, one is the time that they spend in looking for content and resources to make their classes engaging. And secondly, once they have figured out the tools and resources that they can use, then actually engaging their students while using those solutions. And getting any kind of support while using that solutions is something that teachers face day in and day out. So to resolve that problem, what we did was that we went into the research into all of those tools. So after a thorough research and based on the feedback that we received from the teachers, we have curated a list of solutions which we feel can help the Indian teachers the most. We also test the efficacy of these solutions by actually providing these solutions to our scholars, the teachers who are part of a scholarship program, and then getting feedback from them to improve these tools. So we have categorized these tools into 4 main categories. The one category is the video-based learning solutions. So these solutions are which are available even right now amidst the whole corona situation, and the teachers are able to access their online platforms even right now. Then there's the second category, which are more practical in-class solutions. These are solutions which the teachers can use once the schools reopen after the lockdown. The third category is this very interesting tool, which is around the tools which help the teachers in doing assessments for their classes or doing checks for understanding in their classes. And the last category is the professional development class. So to get us started, I'll start from the video-based learning tools. Sonia, can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah. So the first tool in this category is Sundaram's e-class. So this is basically catered to the Maharashtra board schools. What they've done is that they have created animated videos of the entire content that is there in the Maharashtra board curriculum, starting from grade 1 to grade 10 across all the subjects, English, Math, Science, Social, Hindi, Marathi, and across different mediums as well. So it's a very interesting product. And for the TAC scholars, teachers, what we do is that we provide the teachers with a pen drive which is loaded with the content that they need for their classes. They also have a YouTube channel which can give you a sense of the kind of content that they have. I will take you through it shortly. And at the same time, they have recently launched an mobile application also, which is called Exam. So basically, what Exam does is it allows the teachers to Sorry, can you keep it to Sundaram? Yeah, thank you. So what Exam does is it allows the teachers to access the entire content on their mobile phones. And due to the whole COVID situation, they have also provided the teachers with a code which they can enter in the application to access the entire content online. So let me take you through the platform of Sundaram. Just give me 1 second. Yes, so as you can see, this is the YouTube channel that Sundaram is using. And to learn more about the mobile application and the code that you can use, please go and look at the first video. And over here, if we go into the playlists that they have, you can actually see the playlists that they have curated. So for example, they have one for 8th standard, then there's for 9th, 10th, 6th standard. This does not show all the content that they have, but it definitely gives you a good sense of the kind of content that you can expect from Sundaram. All right, so moving on to our second solution. Sonia, can you present? Yeah, thank you. So this is our second solution, which is Zaya School Wi-Fi Box. It is basically an offline library of different teaching videos, dictionaries, tests, stories from more than 4,000 content providers. So the content providers can be something like K-Lite from Khan Academy, or it can be Magic Pathshala, or it can be Zaya's own content as well. We have implemented this product in the past few years, and what we have seen is that the teachers have given a very good feedback about School Wi-Fi because it actually allows them to engage their students very well. It's basically a simple box which you can connect to your phone or even your laptop or a projector, as you can see in the picture, and you can just start using the content. a very interesting thing about school Wi-Fi is that it does not require any internet. It's a simple plug and play model. The teacher does not need any connectivity to internet. I've been a teacher myself, and I completely know that once if you're having a class where you're using a video for the students, and if the video stops working, then it's very difficult to engage the students. But if you're using a product like school Wi-Fi, it's very easy for you because you don't have to worry about your video pausing in the middle of the class. And at the same time, if you are someone who spends a lot of time looking for different kind of videos or different kind of resources, then school Wi-Fi can be a one-stop solution to all of your problems, because you will get content for English and maths and for grades 1 to 5 loaded onto the box itself. To give you an idea of the kind of what the platform looks like, let me take you through their online platform. Just give me a second. So over here, you can see that this is the school Wi-Fi online platform. I've just entered schoolwifi.zaya.in at the top. And this is all the content that they have. They have content from English Dunya, Zaya's own CBSE English. Then there's content from KA Lite. To give you a better idea, let me take you into one of the content providers. So yeah, so over here, you can see all the videos that are there. You can even put filters on the top to sort through the content. And you can just start playing videos and show it to your students. You do not have to worry about anything else. Since I'm using the internet platform, video might take some time, but with the box, you won't ever face the problem. So this brings us to our next category. Just give me 1 second. So I'm facing some. Yes. So this brings us to our next category, which are the in-class tools which the teachers can use. Let me inform you that these are some tools which you might not be able to use at this point, since they are something that you can use only while taking a class. They are more practical that way. But you can definitely, this would be a good time for you to develop that understanding for yourself so that you can apply to our scholarship program later as well once the application is open. So let's move on to the first tool. The first tool that we are offering in the in-class tools is the Keyvix solution. Keyvix is very, very similar to school Wi-Fi, but the difference is that it is available in 23 Indian languages. So if you are operating from a school which is Urdu medium or maybe Marathi medium, maybe Keyvix would be a better solution for you. At the same time, it has also a lot of content from Wikipedia and TED Talks. So if you want to show a motivational video kind of a thing to your students, maybe a Keyvix box would be a much better solution for you. The Keyvix box at this point does not have any online platform as such. So maybe for now, maybe school Wi-Fi can be a better solution for you. Let's move on to our next tool in the category, which is Pratham Library. So basically, Pratham Library is a very interesting tool. It is a set of story books which are just meant to promote the habit of reading among the students. So as part of Teacher Class Scholarship Program, the teachers are provided with a set of around 100 storybooks and which they can use with their students. And these storybooks are very beautifully illustrated, and the stories are very, very relevant to the Indian context. And the good thing about it is that it also comes with a case that you can have in your class so that you can keep the book safely inside your class also. Very interesting thing about Pratham books is that the books are categorized into 4 different levels based on the reading proficiency that is required to read these books. So what I've been implementing this for the past 1 year, and the kind of feedback that I've received from teachers is around the lines that they have actually built their entire English classes around these Pratham books. And they have said that this was the first time that they got something which helped them assess the reading levels of their students. And there is a teacher who actually took their students from level 1 to 4 throughout the year and has given us a very good feedback about the Pratham books. I can also show you one sample book from the Pratham books. Just give me 1 second. So as you can see, this is the platform of Pratham, where you can actually just all do online. So let me give you an introduction of one of those. So I'll read now. Yes. So as you can see, there are, this is the front page of the book. And then the entire storybook is available online. So as part of our teacher classes scholarship program, we provide the hard copies to the teachers, which can then be used by the students during their classes. All right. In case you guys have any questions, I'm going to take a pause right now so that I can address those questions.
Thank you very much, Kami. I can post a few questions that I've picked up on the chat window. Sonia is also helping us solve some of those in the chat window as well. But okay, a few questions have come up are, where can our participants find which specific schools or which teachers currently use teacher class solutions in different cities? You mentioned Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad.
Yeah, so basically to know the teachers that we work with, you can reach out to us and we can connect you to some of the teachers that we have worked with in the past. You can also go on to our website and check out the blog that is there. You will find many teacher stories over there, and maybe we can help you connect with those teachers as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just want to add to I just want to add to that. So we have multiple campaigns on our website. So in case you want to understand how many teachers are using what kinds of solutions, you can actually go onto our website and search for those campaigns by the tool name and see how many teachers are using those tools.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very helpful. I'm just going to ask the next one. Okay. So Sonia has answered this. Are these platforms free to use or paid for? In the chat window, she has responded. If you want to say it out loud as well for those participants who don't have access to the chat box.
Yeah. So right now, apart from school Wi-Fi, Sundaram eClass, these are the two platforms that are offering online free resources to teachers in the current context. Apart from the rest, everything else is paid for. Pratham has also launched their own free tool, so you can dial the storybook, which we're going to cover at a later stage. But right now, all of these tools are paid. TAC scholars, so that means if you're a teacher who gets selected as part of our scholarship program, you don't need to pay for these tools. We fund the tool and take you through a program.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that's helpful. Ankita asks specifically about Zaya, I'm assuming, but Ankita, if that's not the case, please feel free to put it into the chat window. Is Zaya like a projector which has embedded content?
Okay, so Zaya and Keywix are basically small boxes. So the Keywix box is like literally this small, and the Zaya box is a little bigger, and it's plug and play. So you literally have a wire that connects your box to the laptop, and you need a projector if you want to project it to a class. But otherwise, you can simply connect multiple phones or a smart TV or your laptop to the projector, to the boxes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Another question that has come up is we've mentioned about CBSE. A teacher has asked about state boards and ICSE. How can they find out which of these tools specifically cater to those curriculum pieces?
So you can actually, if you go to our website and look at the solutions, you can actually see which kinds of solutions cater to which boards. So currently, the only tools that we have onboarded that actually cater to boards is Sundaram eClass and the science and math kits. So they actually are catered to the curriculum, your standard basic Indian curriculum. In grade 5, you will learn these experiments, etc. So we've made sure that they are customized to the board, if not board, to standard Indian teaching practices. So none of them are actually outside, apart from, I think, Keywix, which is an international organization. So they have a lot of international content housed onto their box.
Okay. Thank you very much. A couple more questions. So we have a number of participants asking us how can they become a tax scholar?
So you can apply. It's the first link that you see on our website. You can directly apply. It's a very short application form. I just want to caveat that with you can right now we've replaced the application form with the general interest form. Feel free to fill that up. We paused our Tax Scholars program currently in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, and once schools resume, we will restart the program because these tools can only be used in the classroom. They're very difficult to kind of integrate in a virtual classroom setting.
Sure. Thank you very much. A couple of questions have come in from Facebook as well. Do these tools work equally, or would they be equally useful across any type of school? Have you learned anything about types of schools that might inhibit how they might be used, how these tools might be used? Let's say a low income versus high income, or private school versus government school, etc. Does the type of school affect the way it's implemented?
So these two, I'm going to let Kanvi answer this more in depth, but I'm just going to preface that. We have onboarded these tools keeping, say, mid-income teachers, so teachers who are teaching in mid-income schools and under-resourced schools or under-resourced classrooms in mind. However, some of these tools have features that can be used by teachers teaching in high-income schools. So it really depends on the teacher, how comfortable she is with technology and how much she can innovate. So our program is catered to providing support across, but we've kept in mind the low income, mid income needs of teachers first, since they're the ones that suffer the most in terms of bringing technology and innovations into the classroom.
Okay. I'll put one more question to you that has come up, which is, one second. Yeah. So these tools, they can be accessed pan-India without any issue. Are they limited by state in any sense? Is it more applicable to some states than others?
So these tools right now are all pan-India. You can use them in any state in India, apart from Sundaram E-Class, which is catered to Maharashtra state. And we run our program. So the Tax Scholars program is mainly run on the ground in 3 cities, in Mumbai, Pune, and Hyderabad. We, however, do take on certain projects on a need basis or remote in other areas, but that depends on the number of teachers in those areas and whether it's feasible for us to conduct those interventions.
That makes sense. Should we take a few more questions, or would you like to move on and take that, and I can table them for later?
Sure, I think we can take a few questions.
Okay. So,
I was just wondering if I can try to take these questions, or if you can just send me the questions, and I will try to answer them on comments while Kanvi progresses with the rest of the tools. Does that work? You can WhatsApp it to me.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Sonia. So let me start by just sharing my screen so that I can take you all through the rest of the tools. Yes. So we have covered Pratham Library. Now moving into the last tool in class category. So these are basically science and maths kits. The idea behind these kits is to bring activity-based education into the classrooms. So these days, it's very important for the teachers to actually have to bring experiential learning into their classrooms, because just learning a concept and writing it down in the exams is not really enough at this point. What we have seen teachers using, what we have seen with teachers is that it also helps them build interest in the subjects for their students. As part of the teacher classes scholarship program, the teachers are allowed to actually select the kind of experiments that they would want from these kits, and actually the ones which they find relevant to their class. We also support the teachers in selecting those solutions if they are not very clear around how to go about selecting. we also support the teachers in getting training on these experiments so that they are able to demonstrate to their students smoothly. During the whole year, we also solve any kind of issues or any troubleshooting that is required so that the teachers do not face any problem using any of these experiments. So we have three kinds of science kits. One is Box of Science, then there is Butterfly EduFields, and then there is Tinkerly. To give you a bit of example of around what can you expect in all these three categories. So in Box of Science, you can have like do-it-yourself activities for your students. So for example, you can have something around how can the students build a solar car by themselves, a very small mini model of that, or how can they make a kaleidoscope, or how can they have a very small windmill or run plant in their very small plant in their class. At the same time, teachers can also get experiments for their chemistry experiments. For example, they can get chemicals for different kinds of reactions like endothermic, exothermic. So there are separate kits for that also. Inside Butterfly EduFields, what I really like about Butterfly EduFields is that it helps the teachers in catering to even the kids who are studying in first, second or third grade as well. Although it goes up to till 10th grade, but even the smaller kids can actually leverage the experiments that are provided by Butterfly EduFields. So for example, the teacher can actually use one experiment to teach students how can they build a very small vacuum cleaner. Or the teacher can actually get resources for teaching addition and subtraction through a game of snakes and ladders. So I think these are some things which I personally found very interesting about Butterfly EduFields. Coming to Tinkerly, Tinkerly is a little bit more advanced in the sense that it can provide you a space where your students can actually come and experiment and do whatever they want. So for example, you can get maybe a mechanics kit or resources to play around with electric circuits. So an electronics kit, or it can be a robotics kit as well. So all these three tools, although are STEM kits, but they are different in the kind of experiments that they provide the teachers with. So this brings me to my next category, which is the tools around the, just give me 1 second. Yes. So this is one very interesting tool which we have for conducting assessments and quizzes in class. So this tool is called PyCards. And I've been implementing it in the past 1 year in schools around Bombay and Pune, and one of my colleagues has been doing it in Hyderabad as well. And I think this is one tool for which I've received phenomenal feedback. How it works is that it allows the teachers to do checks for understanding during a class, or conduct very small quizzes or very small polls, or even collect feedback. Teachers have also used it for taking attendance in their classes. How it works is that basically the teacher writes the question on the board, and then all the students in the class, they are provided with a very unique sheet with a unique QR code, which they can just rotate to the students, as you can see in the picture. At the same time, the teacher is given with a So at the same time, the teachers are given with a mobile application, which they can use to scan all the responses that the teachers are, that the students are showing to them. Very interesting thing about PyCards is that the entire data that you are collecting while doing the quiz or any check for understanding during a class, it gets recorded in the application. So the teachers don't have to actually sit and correct quiz papers of the students to analyze the performance of the students. It is very, very quick. The teachers just have to do a quick scan and they are done. And it also keeps a track of each and every student. So the teacher can go back to each and every quiz and see how every student has performed. It also take attendance very quickly and save their valuable time. I can also show you a very brief demo of how this works. Just give me 1 second. Yes. So as you can see, if all the students are sitting in your class holding their PyCards and the teacher is having a mobile application in their phone, as the teacher goes over the class, she can see the responses that the students are showing. And all of these responses get matched to the QR code and they get saved in the mobile application. this brings me to our next and the last solution. Yes. So moving on to our next solution, that is our last category for the day is the professional development category. Yes. The last category is the professional development category. So under this category, we have one tool which is Saksham's Value Education Program. It is basically a training program for the teachers so that they can build values such as honesty, integrity, or collaboration among their students. So having been a teacher, I think one major challenge that I faced being a new teacher was managing the behavior of the students. So I think I personally feel that if I had had any such training, I would have been at a much better place to actually learn how to build those values in the students, and I would have been able to create a long-term impact in my students. They have a very well-designed one-year program which the teachers can execute in their class after they've gone through the training. The training happens just in the beginning of the program, and then there are refresher trainings during the whole year based on teachers' requirements. How it helps the teachers is, one is that they also get to improve the behavior of the students. Secondly, if the teachers later want to become a life skills educator, it's a very valuable opportunity for them. And I've also heard about teachers who are able to actually manage their own emotions better in a class and conduct classes which are scream free. So basically what I've seen is that the teachers have to scream a lot or shout a lot during the class. But if you are able to manage your own emotions better, maybe you can have scream free classes. So that's the whole vision of the program. So this brings us to the end of the solutions that we offer during the TAG Scholars program. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to take a pause right now so that I can address those questions.
Thank you, Kanvi. We have a few questions that Sonia has been getting to in the chat box, but I can place a few of them out loud as well. Usha, please feel free to jump in and explain a little bit about this question, because I'm not sure if I've understood it completely, but I'm going to post it anyway. Do you have simulations on activities for virtual classes?
So like how do people use or teach virtually? Or
do you have videos on that? I'm assuming, like, do you have videos on that or any documentation how people have used this technology through the TAG Scholarship, TAG Scholar program?
So I think a lot of people have been asking a little bit about the support the TAG Scholars receive. So through the program, people like Kanvi work with our teachers on a one-on-one basis, right? Where the teacher wants to, like say for example, a teacher has received PI cards. The teacher not only gets support on how to use PI cards, but say for example, she wants to creatively use PI cards in a lesson planning activity. Or she wants to use it to take attendance, or she wants to convince her HM to do this school-wide intervention where no teacher has to take attendance for every day, right? It just gets recorded on the QR code. So Kanvi actually works with the teacher very closely to support her in whatever she needs. So we have teachers who have learned how to lesson plan, have identified their actual challenges, right? Like how to engage or build rapport with students, and they've received this support from our program managers. I think in terms of using interactive ways or videos on how you can like teach virtually, we are right now, and I'm going to touch or cover that in the online tool repository, we're creating tutorials. So first we're starting with just basic tutorials on how to set up these different tools. And then secondly, we're doing use cases. So for example, like if a teacher has an idea of what she wants to do, then we kind of emulate or simulate that use case and provide a video recording for it. A lot of the times we're doing one-on-one classes or with teachers where we use those recordings then to allow more teachers who have the same problem actually access the solution.
Thank you for that detailed answer. I've got a couple of other questions coming in. So the first one, and this is a question that's coming in from Facebook, but also in general, we've had these questions come in. A number of these tools, and in this case, they've asked specifically about PI cards. Are they applicable across all age ranges of kids, classes, grades, subjects? Are there some that they are most suited to
Yes.
Basically, the
So
question
I'll
was
take that.
kindergartners, primary, etc.
Yes. So I think there are no restrictions as such on how you can use it or for which grade you can use it or for which subject you can use it. It is very generic. It totally depends on the teacher for which grade do they want to use it. But I think like for a very small student, like for a maybe pre-primary students, it might be a little difficult to use because students might not be very comfortable holding the cards. That's the only concern. If you think that you can support your students in using those cards effectively, I think there's no restriction as such. You can definitely use it.
Thank you, because that's definitely a question about PI cards have come up about kindergartners and primary and pre-primary students. So I think that is very helpful. Another question that's come up is, Richa asks, in this current situation, which tool can be leveraged best to teach students online?
So I think the online tool repository and the tools which you can use for virtual teaching is something that Sonia will also be covering in the remaining part of the presentation.
Okay,
so I think we can just that question and later address it.
I'll pose it again at the very end. Another one that's come up is, 1 second. No, I think we're all caught up with that. Yes, okay, we're all caught up. We can continue and then I can keep updating questions in the chat.
Great.
All right. So, could you just take over answering the questions in the chat box while I share my screen?
Yeah.
Great. So we're going to move on to the next section, which is, I think, what all of you are itching to know more about, our online tool repository and like what apps to kind of use in the current context. So I'm just going to, just going to share my screen. Give me a minute. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So a lot of you asked about how difficult or easy are the tools that we offer to the in the TAC Scholars program for teachers to grasp what kind of support do they receive. And I've tried to answer them, but just reiterating over here, we've seen teachers actually grow in their confidence and their proficiency in the tool in just 3 months of the support that we offer. While we offer this support for 9 months, we focus the next 6 months on building their ability to use it in innovative and different ways. The impact that we've seen with teachers is we've seen that it helps them manage their classrooms better. So students are more engaged in what you're teaching them. They are more receptive to the questions you pose. And the second piece is that they actually perform better in their tests. So we're seeing that because of like tools like PI cards or the science kits, etc. We've heard a lot of stories as well as a lot of principals coming and telling us that their students have actually performed much better after introduction to these tools, because you're actually just holding the attention of the student in a very different way. So it's pretty simple. Okay, so we're going into the online tool repository. Now I'm going to show you what this tool repository looks like and what it covers. So if you click the link in the presentation, and I'll also ping you the link, or we can ping the link on the comment section to the tool repository. We have tools in four main categories. One is the basic tool. That is, these are tools like Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Classroom, WhatsApp, Zoom, Hangouts, all of these basic tools to get you started in virtual teaching. Then we have professional development category, where we covered organizations such as the Teacher App, Firki, and so on. And we don't want to make this like a comprehensive list of organizations, but we're curating it to like really great content providers, right, in these categories. Then we have the virtual classroom. Here we really try to provide you with tutorials or add-on apps that you can use to engage and actually teach your kids virtually. And and the last category that we have is lesson planning. So we've kind of heard a lot from teachers saying that they specifically want worksheets, revision, lesson planning tools that will help them plan better, because I'm sure you all feel this, that most of your time goes in planning for your lessons and throughout the day, right? It's the most time consuming part of your day. So we're trying to find tools and curating tools that help teachers find these content and resources. For the purpose of this webinar, we're going to cover a few of my favorite tools that I think apply to that teachers can find useful, and you can find a larger the larger list on our website. But I just kind of like wanted to take you through a few that are my favorites. So one is Google. Now Google has launched or released a plethora of online free resources and tools for teachers and educators during this time. One of those platforms is Teach from Home, which is an extensive platform that gives you tutorials on every single Google product, especially for an educator. So how do you get set up? What kind of things do you need to be able to set up your Google tools and so on and so forth. They've also provided G Suite for educators. Now, G Suite is a combination of all the tools that Google provides. So it has Gmail, Sheets, Classroom, etc. And you have just one ID. You can create as many IDs as you want. It's like you're running your own little organization using G Suite. And they've provided this license for free to all educators in the current context. Now, the pros of Google is obviously its seamless integration. Like from, you know, your timetable can move on to calendar, right? All of your homework can move on to Google Docs and Google Sheets. They have Google Attendance that happens on Google Meet. So your entire school could technically be done virtually, and it's a great solution for that. The con is that and I've been realizing that this is a huge con, at least in the Indian context, is that you need to have a school domain name. That means you need to have a website for your school that ends with .edu or .org to be able to create a license in Google that is free. Once you have that, only then can you get access to the Google Educator license. But in the meanwhile, you can continue to use your normal Gmail address or create a normal Gmail address and still access these tools. The only difference is that you need to help students create their own personal Gmail accounts and then link it to yours. The next tools that I really love is Kahoot. I don't know whether any of y'all have heard about Kahoot or whether y'all, I'm sure most teachers use Kahoot, but what they've done right now is they've provided the Pro Educator version for free, right? So before you had to pay to get this license, now it's for free. And what that means is that you can actually create quizzes where students can learn at their own pace. That means you just share a quiz and the student has a very gamified way in which they can learn. And you are getting real-time feedback and data on how they're performing on their quiz, etc. So this is completely free. It's a simple, easy login process. I do believe you need an .org and or .edu email to access this feature. You can't use it with your .gmail account. The next tool that I really like is Duolingo. And Duolingo, for the longest time, I think people think it's just to learn languages, but they have this Duolingo for School platform where you can actually get your entire class. Especially if you're an English teacher. I saw one comment where someone said, are there any resources for teaching in English or teaching English? So this is an app that allows you to create a classroom for your students, and you can literally help your students learn English. And right now they have a feature if you want to teach English in Hindi. That means if your school or if your students are native Hindi speakers, if you yourself want to improve your English speaking or pick up another language, you can actually select Hindi as the native language, and all of your how you learn English will be from the Hindi to English process.
Online teaching
The con right now is that the language is limited. So it's only meant for native Hindi speakers and English speakers. It doesn't have any other Indian language that it offers. It's pretty simple to set up this Google Duolingo for Schools. So you can invite your students, you can quiz them, you can take assessments, all of these features all available on Duolingo, and they have extensive tutorials for this. Again, if you need any more information on Duolingo and how to set it up, you can visit our website and look at the longer blog that we've written on Duolingo. The next are obviously Phirki. I mean, I kept the best for the last. So it is very difficult to find cons for both Pratham and Phirki because they are literally catered or designed for the Indian context. So like, for example, with Phirki, it's free. It's a 1 or 2 step sign up process. You can use an existing or Google account. It has mobile and web access, although I personally recommend teachers accessing this from their desktop or for them computers, because there are a few bugs that we faced in the team while trying to access courses specifically on the mobile version. The content is extremely engaging and relevant. It's designed for teachers. And they have, I mean, Phirki has established a lot of different partnerships with organizations such as Khan Academy and British Council, etc. That's actually giving them, giving teachers access to really, really great content. And my favorite part about it is that it adopts reflective practice. So it helps you as a teacher at the end of every course list down like what your key takeaways are, what your next steps are.
1 second, Sonia. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just going to request all our participants to kindly place yourselves on mute. This will, as you could just hear, this really helps us ensure that there is no echoes and no conversations that are happening while our speakers are speaking. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So, yeah. So, I mean, I love this because of the self-reflection. I believe like all educational tools or interventions need to help the educator or teachers or the beneficiaries really take charge of their own learning rather than always be reliant on an external factor to promote their learning. With Pratham Books, they've recently launched Dial a Story. Which is great because you don't need to download anything. You just need a mobile phone. And we know that in India, we have quite a good penetration with cell phones. You give a missed call to the number that I've listed over here, and you will get a call back asking you to choose which language and which story you want to hear. Now, the great part about this for teachers is you can be really inventive, right? And someone was again asking, how do we kind of experiment with virtual tools, etc. So imagine this, you can literally tell your students to give a missed call and give them the number, like what language and which story that they need to select. They do that. And they're all listening to this story, right? Or they're listening to it on their cell phones. And then you can do a class later on Hangouts or whatever platform you want to use. And you can actually do checks for understanding. Or you can send a Google form and quiz them on what they have understood from the story. So, I mean, the pros are just great because it's not asking anyone to use any new technology. The cons it's just like it needs you as teachers to really step up and become very inventive in how you want to use this free resource in your classroom in the virtual context. And I think like a couple of tips, and you can see a few more tutorials on our YouTube channel and on our blog to understand how to transition to virtual teaching. I think one of the biggest tips is get innovative with what you know, right? Don't try and say that, oh, I'm going to learn 8 different new things that I've never done before. Start with what you know. You use WhatsApp, you use Hangouts, you use your cell phone, right? Then take one new thing that you want to learn and start kind of implementing that in your classroom. So don't go and experiment with a lot of different things, because what that will end up doing is create a sense of overwhelm with you, and you don't want to do that. And then mix and merge tools that you're familiar with, because you want to get your students also to build that familiarity with the tools. And you're lucky because kids pick up things really fast, right? So they will pick up these things really fast. And I would say just take it slow. right? Ask for feedback from your peers. So get your teachers, get like some teacher from your school to come onto the webinar, or to a call with you while you're doing your virtual classroom. Ask them for feedback. Ask your HM to come on to feedback, and ask feedback from your students, right? What worked for them? Were they feeling bored? Do they want to do something different? Because your students will give you more ideas than you can imagine. And last is access helpful content. So you have platforms like Firki. You can visit even Teacher Class and other organizations like Khan Academy, British Council, all of these different platforms that are really providing free tutorials, free resources to teachers in the current context. So just access those tutorials, reach out to people. A lot of people are opening up lines of communication and allowing teachers to, or inviting teachers to kind of participate and engage at a more deeper level. So even at Teacher Class, we're doing one-on-one trainings for teachers, where you could literally reach out to us and we'll do a one-on-one virtual coaching session on a tool that you want to get familiar with. I think the Firki team is going to be circulating a form at the end of this webinar. And if you feel like you want to participate in that, you could just select that option and we'll get in touch with you. If you want to access our YouTube channel, the handle name is Teacher Class Foundation. And we'll share links with you after the webinar. It's also on the deck. You have to just click the button over here and you will be directed to the YouTube channel. And our resources and tips are nothing but the free resources, so workbook, worksheets, etc., that our teachers have created, or we found from different platforms that we're hosting. All right, so I think that's about it. We can use this time to answer as many questions as you have.
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, so once again, guys, feel free to please use the chat window. We've got about 30 minutes or so to take your questions. We've got our speakers here, so please feel free to use the chat window to place your questions there. Nayan has asked us a couple of times to show a video or to share videos or other resources on how teachers use these tools and these tools in their classrooms. If you have access to that, or if you know where Nayan could find this, where should he check this out?
Yeah, so actually we did recently we did one class with one of the teachers who tried to do an online class with their students. So I can definitely check with my team and share the link to the whole recording of the video.
I hope that helps you, Nayan. We've got a couple of questions. A couple of times the same question has come up, so I'm just going to put it to you guys. Any specific tools that you would recommend that would work effectively for secondary classroom, secondary students, older students?
Yeah, sure. So I think it completely depends on the requirement in the secondary section as well. So for example, if you want to take an assessment, then PyCards is something that will work very well with secondary students as well. Whereas if you want to take a science class, so then maybe something like Tinkerly would be a very good solution for the secondary classes because it has more advanced tools. So I think it also depends on the kind of challenge that the teacher is trying to solve for in the secondary class as well. The tools that we have shared, I don't think any of them is specifically catered to the primary students, except I think Zaya's platform is the one which has only contents from grade 1 to 5. I think everything else is something that you can use across grades.
Okay.
Hey, sorry, can I just add on to that question? Sorry, so just I'm very keen on personalizing the experience in my classroom, and this was my question. Mine is a secondary grade. I'm a 9th class teacher, and I'm really hoping 45 kids, personalized education. What kind of tools do you suggest for that?
So what do you, so I think one tool that we also implemented this year was Zaya's personalized learning program. So that was basically around providing students with a tablet and which comes with the content loaded on that. But I think we do not like going forward, like we are not working with those solutions because they are not as economically they are not very friendly for the teachers. So I think that was one of the reasons that we are not exactly working on the personalized learning tools as of now.
And to build on what Kanvi shared, we are looking for tools that actually help students learn by themselves, but available for free. So there are platforms such as TED-Ed, right, that help you create a lesson plan or customize an existing lesson plan, and you can share that lesson plan with your students, and that involves self-paced learning. So you can contextualize it a little bit because these are for higher order learners rather than, and it depends on who you're teaching. I think another interesting tool to use is Kahoot. So that really encourages self-paced learning, but it's in a quiz format. So you could be a little innovative in that. And I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just got a little distracted. But yeah, these are two tools right now that we found that can be helpful in personalized learning or contextualized learning. Yeah.
Okay. A quick reminder to whoever's got their microphone on, if you could please place yourselves on mute, that would be really helpful. As of right now, it's difficult to hear our speakers over you. Okay.
So some have been asking for like, are there any opportunities to work with Teacher Class? We have you can volunteer with Teacher Class and kind of like learn how you know, we coach teachers and mentor teachers. You can create tutorials and videos for teachers. That's we're always welcoming of that. And the second piece is how do you teach? I think Kanvi tried to also answer that question, right? Like science to higher schools and higher grades. We have a couple of tools that are slightly expensive. So Tinkerly is a STEM lab, which allows students to, again, learn at their own pace. It's a tinkering lab, but it's extremely expensive. And when I say extremely expensive, it's around 15 to 20,000 rupees for a kit for your classroom. And we offer that as part of the scholarship program. So that's one way in which you can teach science. But Khan Academy has a lot of 7th grade or 8th grade and above resources to teach science and math to students, which is really good quality resources. I've watched many of those videos and I think they're amazing. TED-Ed is another platform, lots of science content available there.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to get a couple more questions from Facebook Live, actually. One question, and I'm cognizant of the fact that you may not know, but how do you get an educator's license?
Okay, so I have done a lot of research on that because that is like the most popular question. I've written, I have, there's an article or there is a review that we have on Teacher Class on Google Suite. Kanvi, if you can just find that link and paste it in the comments. So to the steps to get your the education suite is, one, you need to purchase or convince your HM to purchase a domain, right? Your domain can be very cheap, from 100 to 200 rupees per year to I think the most expensive is 800 rupees per year if you want exactly a school name, etc. Now the domain name has to end with .org or .edu. Edu domain endings are slightly more expensive than .org. So suggestion is to go for .org. Once you have your domain name or your website created, you need to then set up your Gmail account for that domain. So Google has a lot of tutorials on how to do that. It's pretty simple. You log in, you say that you want to you want to use Google Suite for educators. And once you click that, it's a pretty simple process. You have to give in all of your details or your, you know, your domain name, or you have to say that you've got permission from your HM. You probably have to upload a little bit of materials certifying that you're a legit school or an organization that works in education. And then you will have access to the Google Suite for education. And then it's pretty simple. Then you just set up everything else. But the key element that a lot of our teachers are finding very challenging is like setting up that domain and website for the organization or for the school. So, but that's the only way to go about it in the current context. We've tried to write to Google to see whether they are providing any other sort of relief to teachers who don't have this access. We've not yet heard back from them.
Thank you, Sonia. I've got another question which has come from Facebook Live again. It's very specific. I'll pose the specific question for you, and then I'll make it a little more generic so it's applicable for a number of our participants. Being a second grade class teacher, where I have 12 students, one of them is autistic. What tools or techniques could be used to make the child understand the concept of the current chapter that I'm teaching? But that is the most specific question. The more generic question would be, how do you make these specific tools inclusive for students differently able?
I am going to try to attempt this question. I don't have the answer to it. And maybe if Kanvi, through your experience, you could kind of help a little. I think that we right now do not offer any solutions to differently abled or students, or like because our solutions are meant for schools that or students that are not differently abled. We encourage, I think, eSaksham, just because it has the values-based curriculum and kind of works with students more directly, getting trained by them to kind of how to instruct kids, and like the kind of empathy you need to build with different kinds of students, right? The kind of tips and tricks in which how you can teach students, because you're not always lucky to have a classroom with only, say, differently abled students. You always have a mix of classrooms, right? Like where you have like students who are at point, and then like you have students who are slightly challenged or like differently able. So eSaksham actually provides the teacher with a way in which they can deal with these challenges. I also do believe that organizations such as the Teacher Foundation, which is based in Bangalore, offer teacher support on these tools. Of course, they're paid programs, and your school needs to set up or reach out to them to participate in that program. But there are having art classes, or kind of like different ways in which you can actually engage your students differently could be methods. And this is just my perspective, but I could be wrong. Kanvi, if you have anything else to add.
No, I think we also haven't like researched a lot on the tools which are catered to the specially able students. So I think like I was also thinking the same thing, that maybe Saksham's Valid is something that can help the teachers to actually cater to those students.
Thank you so much. I have another question that's come up. This is from Sanchari. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. We've been conducting virtual teaching and learning for the last 3 weeks. Parents got this concern that the learners from 6th grade onwards are not motivated enough to attend classes. What can be done in this situation?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, I think we need to also understand that the times are challenging, like we are in the middle of a pandemic. So I think it's okay if the students are not very motivated for a while, but I think what we have seen, like I've spoken to a few teachers who have been doing these virtual classes for their students. So I think what really helps is to just give them a target for one day and just do some check-ins during the day so that they are able to do that work which has been assigned to them. I think if the students have a specified task just for a specific period of time, like let's say I have to do only this much, maybe that will help them stay on track. Secondly, I think what can really help the students is to share if any other student is working well. I think just engaging, just encouraging the students who are motivated encourages the entire class as well. I think these are two things I think which can help.
Thank you so much. We've got a few questions. Yeah, we've got a few questions. So some of them are immediate answers. How do I insert a video while doing Zoom or any virtual class? But I thought it would be a good opportunity to just link them or help our participants reach out to other tutorials you might have on Teacher Class on Zoom or G Suite in general.
Yeah. Sonia,
we can't hear you. You're mute.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, so you can look at our YouTube channel in case you want any tutorials. You can leave comments below the video if you feel like you had a specific need, and we'll create a tutorial for that need. You can also reach out to us directly. We've shared our email addresses. And if you want to learn a couple of different tools or how to use different features in tools, we're happy to do one-on-one classes with you. And we're offering this support right now for free to all teachers so that we can help them, transition to the virtual classroom. So, I mean, these are the ways in which you can kind of get answers to the questions on how do you integrate a video into a Zoom call or and so on and so forth.
Thank you. I also really appreciate that some of our participants, including Deepali, has shared what has worked for her when dealing with the classroom with students who are not very motivated. Thank you very much, Deepali, and others who are helping this community of teachers. I've had a question, one second. The question was about how easy, it was from Anil if I'm not wrong, how easy or difficult is it to integrate G Suite and Khan Academy for a school? If you have any information or if you have any insight into this?
I will find out and I will let you know. Or right now, we haven't tried to do that. Because we don't have the educator's license, we have an org license. So that's the interface is really different for educators and organizations. So we're working on providing that kind of tutorial for teachers. I also wanted to share a couple of tools that of late have just been launched. So Leher NGO, if you go onto their YouTube channel, they've launched a playlist called Aplam Chaplam. You can also see it. It's featured on our YouTube channel. It's like really interactive. It's for higher order students, but it's like really cool stories narrated by actual people to help students remain engaged. There is this other app called Kutuki. It has a free version and a paid version. Now, Kutuki is meant for ages till 7, but I found the content extremely relevant and engaging, especially because they have content on how to manage fears of students and children during the COVID pandemic. They have a special COVID related song on how to wash your hands that kids will probably find very engaging across grades. So you can register on Kutuki for free. And you can also encourage parents to either pay for that or access it for free so that students or kids can remain engaged at home.
We've got a number of questions on chat, but I'm going to put, we've got questions about best tool for science, best tool for math, etc., etc. But before that, one that has come up a little earlier, and this was Nayan who asked me a lot earlier, and I think it slipped my mind, so I'll place it to you now. And it's a little off the beaten track, but any tools you recommend for a teacher who's teaching physical ed or PE?
No,
no, we haven't researched on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. But now, if you can help us with a little bit about specifically which tools would you recommend for math? I know you mentioned a couple, but if you could reinforce that, and science.
Yeah. So I think for maths, there is this application which is Hey Math. I think which is catered for only maths. So I think that can be one solution. I think even like Khan Academy has very good resources on maths. And lastly, I've seen Byju's has also been doing free online classes. So which students can like directly log into and attend those classes. And Byju's, like in general, their content of maths is also very, very relevant and it can be used by Indian students very well. Similarly, I think for science, I think I'll definitely recommend Khan Academy and this one, Byju's. I think these two are, they work really well for almost all the subjects. But if you want tools for like science for using during the class, I think I've covered that in my presentation, like for example, Box of Science or Butterfly Edu Fields or Tinkery.
Thank you so much. It would be remiss if I didn't mention that we have an upcoming webinar on physical education soon on Firki, so keep your eyes peeled out for that in your inboxes. We'll take a couple more questions. How do you make virtual classroom teaching learning process effective for elementary education? Students until 5th grade. Anil asks that. Just generic question on how do you make it engaging?
So I spoke to one of the teachers who has conducted these kind of classes. So what she does is that she said that, see, basically the exams are not going to happen for the students, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to cover the curriculum as such, but you can definitely focus on building skills amongst the students. So for example, what you can do is maybe giving them questions around the whole circumstance around us. So what she has done is that basically she asked the students to spend one day on getting news about Corona, and then acting like a news presenter, and then how would you present it? So that is one day task. Then second day is like, how will you write to a friend who is in quarantine, and how would you write it to him to be safe and take all the precautions that are needed? So I think like if you relate it to what's going on in their lives right now, I think that would be very helpful to keep them engaged. And also at the same time, it's very important to keep the students informed about the whole thing. So I think this is a very interesting way in which you can do that.
We also have a number of our participants talking about the Diksha app and how it's also helpful for English, science, and mathematics. So guys, definitely check the Diksha app out as well. Before we move on, just a quick update, guys. I would like to quickly tell you that Ashwath is going to be putting the link to a feedback form in the chat window soon. Please do take a few minutes to give us feedback on this webinar. It really helps us in designing this and all our webinars for the future for you guys. So do take some time a few minutes to please fill up the feedback form that is in your chat box right now. Nagashri asks, how can we conduct experiments and activities while teaching online?
So I think like the most effective way to go about it right now could be like showing them videos of those experiments being performed. So if you look at the content that eSundaram, the eClass is providing for all the experiments, they have provided the videos also. You can go to their YouTube channel or even go to their mobile application and access that content and just share those videos with the students. I think it might be difficult for the teachers to perform it live for the students, given the circumstances. Might be difficult to just get the contents also. But like sharing a video, I think would be the most effective way.
Okay, so sorry, I just saw on the comments that a couple of people have asked for platforms apart from Zoom and etc. So I think like we recommend Zoom as a platform for educators only because they have amazing features like breakout rooms, your whiteboard, etc. that are not available in any other conferencing app right now. But there are alternatives. You can use Skype. You can use WhatsApp video. You can use Telegram, which has unlimited, I think you can have groups with unlimited number of participants. You can also use Hangouts. Did I say Hangouts? Yeah, you can use Google Hangouts Meet. These are the different options apart from your usual Zoom that you can use for conducting virtual classrooms. Yeah, Ashwa, thank you. And I think someone else has asked about sharing more on Google Classroom. So Google Classroom is, we have a couple of tutorials, so please go watch the tutorials, but I'll briefly try to tell you a little bit about Google Classroom. So you can use Google Classroom on your normal email account. You don't need an educator's license for it. It's literally available. Everyone knows when you log into Gmail, you have the 9 small boxes on the right hand side corner. You have to click on that, scroll down till you see Google Classroom, and you can literally just click on Google Classroom and you've entered Google Classroom. So it's as simple as that once you have an email address with Gmail. Now, there are a few main features. One is your stream, which is like your Facebook wall, right? Or your Instagram wall. Like it's just a daily activity of whatever is happening on Google Classrooms. The next piece is where you can assign classwork. right? So you can send in assignments. You can do a quiz or an exam or a revision on something. You can send students reading material or pre-work. And you can also use that space to schedule a virtual class, etc., which will then come up on your calendar. All your deadlines that you feed, right, for sending in assignments or sending in the quiz, etc., will again get synced with your calendar, where you can actually see that, okay, I need to follow up. And as soon as someone has submitted something, you get a notification on stream saying how many students have submitted classwork, how many were late, etc. So it's a really incredible tool to teach virtually. It's also an extremely new tool for most educators, at least Indian educators in the current context. So we've created a lot of use cases for Google Classroom. We've made these videos really short so that you learn one or two features at a time, can practice it and then come back for more. And yeah, you can do a one-on-one class with us and we'll help you through the more complicated aspects of Google Classroom.
Thank you so much. I know a couple of participants a little earlier also wanted a little more information on PyCard. I'm not fully sure what they would like to know. So if you have anything specific you'd like to ask, please put it in the chat box. I know Umashankar, you were asking. But if you have anything to elaborate on PyCards in the meanwhile, if not, we can move on to the next set of questions.
I think with PyCards, it's so PyCards was originally, or like the way PyCards is marketed is for a school, right? So it's actually an entire school system. We've customized it to an individual teacher, and that's why you can, like our teachers in the TAP program can actually be the only teachers in their school using PyCards. Now, PyCards offers multiple solutions for the school system. One is you can automate your attendance taking. That means you just scan your classroom and you know which students are present, which students are absent. It takes about, I would say, 2 weeks for the students to get kind of comfortable with how they need to show their PyCards. It's actually a laminated sheet. It's a very simple sheet which you can print. Most of our teachers now stick it at the back of their of the textbook the students use every single day in the classroom. Or they sometimes have a banner, like, you know, schools provide a banner which students can then leave in the classroom. So they just raise the PyCard and teachers can understand. It's used in multiple ways. So PyCards is right now working with schools on how they can put all of their assessments from unit test to like any kind of revision or to even prep for those end of year, like you have the scholarship programs, right, for students. So the multiple choice ones. So they're putting all of those things onto the PyCards app. So that means teachers do not have to spend time correcting, right? Because the right answers have already been built in. So all you have to do is analyze the data. So you become better at performance, right? You will now get on the back end data on how your students are performing, the relation between their attendance through the year and their performance. Many teachers are using that to engage the parents in sending their students to school regularly, right? Because the students are performing if they come to school. It also helps you understand, like maybe, you know, sometimes students sitting at the back can't hear you, or like a student may have an eye problem and cannot read the blackboard, and hence that student is answering wrong all the time because it's a very visual app. So these are some of the features of the PyCards tool. Kanvi, I don't know if I've missed any more features. They're right now trying to see whether I'm kind of working with PyCards to see on how we can help teachers with virtual teaching and like get virtual support measures using Google Forms, etc. on PyCards. So once that's ready, we're providing it to our teachers to kind of test for free and give PyCards feedback on how it's used.
I'm going to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, so I think someone also asked that how do kids respond using the PyCard? So basically, if you looked at the picture, so it's basically a square card which has 4 sides to it. So if the student has to respond that A is the answer, they'll just hold the card like that, B and C and D. So whatever which edge of the square is on the top, that gets recorded as a response.
Thank you so much, Kanvi. I'm going to put down, I'm going to ask 2 last questions to you guys. The first one comes from The first one comes from Nagashri. Is it possible to assess practical knowledge of students by making them do hands-on activities remotely or online?
So I think one way of like assessing any kind of understanding of the students is through just taking a small test or a small quiz at the end of the day of whenever you're doing the class. So I think we two very good tools for taking assessments right now are like, one is Google Forms and the another one is Testmoz. Testmoz is a little more complicated, but gives you much more options than Google Forms. But Google Forms is the simplest one, and the student, you can create it in like 2 minutes and the students can fill it in like 2 minutes and it's done. It's not very complicated and you can easily assess the learning. And even at the back end of it, you get responses in a normal Google sheet and you can just analyze it and get all the responses of your students.
Thank you very much. I'm going to put the last question. It's slightly bigger picture, but it's a question put by Smita. How can we support teachers who are not techno-savvy or who are not comfortable with English, or those who work specifically in the vernacular medium?
So I think I can answer the first two questions, that are the teachers who are not techno-savvy or not comfortable with English. So right now we have worked with teachers who, all our tools are catered to teachers who are not very techno-savvy, who struggle to leverage these tools, and that's why we are supporting them throughout the year. And even in the beginning of the program, we are going to have an orientation so that they can use very basic things that we need for communication during the year. So for example, if I want them to fill out a Google form during any part of the year, I'll train them on that. So like, not being techno savvy is definitely not a problem, and that's the whole idea behind our program of our teacher class. If there's anything that Sonia you would like to add.
Yeah, I'd just like to be reminded, because I'm trying to answer the comments as well as, so what are the questions?
Yeah, so the bits were around how do you work with teachers who are not techno savvy, but also the second portion was who may not be comfortable with English or who may work with students in a vernacular medium.
Right. So I think when I'm assuming this is for someone who wants to know how to support those teachers in teaching. Right. So I would say use this time to build their capacity, at least in the virtual world, right? Like, how do they learn how to help themselves in terms of accessing content and resources that are applicable to them? So there are a couple of platforms which we have mentioned in the past. That is Khan Academy, which has probably Hindi medium. There are lots of YouTube channels right now where you can find a lot of content in different languages. Right. Even on the Firki portal, if I'm not mistaken, you can access content in 5 different languages. Am I right? Or like I've got that wrong? Yeah. So but you need to help teachers kind of learn how to familiarize themselves with the process of kind of finding these tools for themselves. And as the first step, because I think the biggest barrier teachers face from our experience is they just feel scared and nervous to try anything new, right? And the biggest part of our focus in the program is that we help build like the teacher's confidence by showing them the positive loop, right? Like there's some change, there's a positive change that has happened. And then we see these teachers really experimenting. For example, I just sat with a teacher who kind of was always, nervous. And she'd been talking to us about doing a virtual classroom for the first time. And she did her first virtual classroom last week. And I spoke to her this week, teaching her how to do Google Slides. And in a week span, she's done 3 virtual classrooms. So, it's just about helping teachers get over that initial fear and showing them the ways in which they can help themselves and kind of like building a positive feedback loop.
Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to stop with our questions. I would like to start by thanking Sonia and Kanvi for being generous with their time today, time and expertise. Sonia and Kanvi, if you could please take about 30 seconds each to tell us about your experience on this webinar today, interacting with our participants, etc. If you can just take a few minutes or take a minute, preferably, to tell us a little bit about your experience today.
Kanvi, you want to go?
Go ahead, Sonia.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I had an amazing time interacting with all the teachers, and I'm very excited to answer actually all the questions that have come up. I did not expect teachers to have so many questions, and I think I personally learned a few things while taking this session. And even while I was preparing for this session, I think it was very informative for myself as well as I was trying to explore these tools. So thanks a lot, Rahul and the entire team for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you. Sonia?
I think I was extremely nervous. I've never addressed 300 people before. So I was extremely nervous, but extremely excited to kind of hear and interact with all of the teachers. And I really enjoyed answering and kind of like looking through the comments and answering teachers, when they had queries. I think a lot of teachers have raised really relevant questions, which have, as Kanvi shared, it's kind of given us more food for thought in terms of what we need to target next and how we can support teachers more. My only request to everyone who's been part of this webinar is to get in touch with us. If you need help, if you need access to any of our tools, both paid and free, if you need help on like how to set up virtual classrooms or teaching, please get in touch with us. We're circulating a form, or like I think Ashwath has already circulated a form in the chat section. So please take 2 minutes, fill that form, tell us what you would like from us, and we can then get in touch with you and take those conversations forward.
Thank you so much. As Sonia just said, before you leave, please take a minute to give us feedback on your learning experience on our webinar today. It helps us grow and improve our resources for you. Ashwath will paste the link in the browser. Our next webinar is scheduled to take place on April 30th, which is tomorrow. It's with the Training and Impact team at Teach for India, and the topic is teaching and learning with adolescent boys. So do look out for Firki emails in your inbox for information on this upcoming webinar. With that, we've come to the end of our webinar today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. It was a pleasure to bring this webinar to you, and we hope you had a great opportunity to learn and have concrete takeaways from today. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks so much, Rahul. Thank you, Ashwa. Thank you, everyone, Prerna, all of you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Good evening.